good evening. I hope you're all well. It feels like ages since I've done this, but it's been the holidays, I've been away, I've been on retreat and just loads happening, so it's good to be back. Instagram's just doing its thing, telling people that I'm here, so I'll just chat for a minute. If you're watching this back, then this is your chance to go and get a drink, a cup of tea or a glass of water, get comfortable, your pillows, blankets, cats, puppies, whatever it is you need to help you to relax and get ready for the story. So I've decided to take a bit of a break from Pip and Great Expectations, not because there's anything wrong with the book, but just because it's a really long book and I thought we could maybe do with a palette cleanse. And I just thought it would be fun to break it up a little bit with something completely different. So I'm actually quite excited. This is one of my favourite books, and I think it will probably be some of your favourite books too. I'm not sure about the plurals there, but anyway, it's a proper classic and I'm very excited because it means I get to read one of the most iconic opening lines to a novel ever. I think there's this one and maybe the opening line to The Crow Road, which is potentially the only one that could top it. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I hope I do it justice. What other clues can I give you? It's a book by a female writer, very, very famous. I think usually for most people this is their favourite, or this one and one other one maybe is a toss-up for their favourite. I think there's two that tend to be pretty even. Amazingly iconic characters, just full of them. A brilliant story and very witty and bright and lots of funny bits, and hopefully not too many difficult to read words, unlike Great Expectations. So if you're watching this back in the replay then and you've got to this point, if you can guess what it is, then let me know in the comments and we'll see who's right. Be interested to see what you think at this stage. We'll begin in a second, and we'll begin as always. We'll just check in to see where we're at. When I ask how you doing, I don't just mean how you doing, I mean how are you doing? Where's your breath? How's your breathing? Are you breathing well? And how's your body? What's it saying to you? Have you been listening to it? And so, as it's been a while, I think we'll have a really good check-in tonight and see how we're doing. And I need this too. So, we'll start in a second. If you're ready and sitting comfortably, I invite you as always to close off your eyes if that's comfortable for you, and you can place a hand on your heart or one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. And if you're sitting, you can have both of your feet on the ground. If you're lying, that's fine. If you're lying down, just stay where you are. And take a big breath in. Exhale. Let it all out. Take another big breath in. Fill up your lungs. Exhale. Let it all out. And continue with these deep breaths. And breathe down into the hand that's on your belly. And with every exhale, start to soften and relax. And allow your muscles to grow heavy. And start to release any tension you may be carrying. Notice your breath. The sensations of the breath, where the air comes in through the nostrils and down your breathing passage, the expansion of your lungs. And on the exhale, feel the warmth of your breath. And just start to scan through your body from your toe tips all the way up your legs. And when I say scan, I just mean touch those areas with your mind and see if your body has anything to say to you, if you need to say anything to it. Instruct it to relax and soften. Coming up the legs, towards the knees, the backs of the legs, and the front of the legs. And continuing on up, the backs of the thighs and the front of the thighs, into the hips, and the belly, and the lower back, the mid-back and the ribs. Continuing up into the chest and the upper back, and up to your shoulders, down each arm all the way to your fingertips, and all the way back up to your shoulders. You can lift your shoulders up to your ears and roll them back and down. Away if you have any tension there. Gently move your head from side to side. Just let your body allow it to relax. Continuing up into the neck, the throat, the back of your neck, into your jaw. And if you're holding any tension here, you can just wet your lips and gently slide your jaw from side to side. Very gently, just allowing any tension there to release and let go. And continuing up into your cheeks, into your ears, sides of your face, your eyes, your eyebrows. And if you're holding any tension there, or you suddenly got one eyebrow instead of two, you can just give them a wriggle, pull a funny face, and that just allows any tension there to release. Continuing up into your forehead, you can keep doing the eyebrow dance if you like. On across to the top of the head, the crown of the head, down the back of the head, the back of the neck, and join again at the shoulders. Take one more big breath in. Hold it there. And let go. Nice long exhale. I invite you to keep these long, slow, deep breaths as we go through this chapter. So we'll begin with chapter 1 of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Here we go. I hope you enjoy it. Chapter 1. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. However little known the feelings or views of such a man may be on his first entering a neighbourhood, this truth is so well fixed in the minds of surrounding families that he is considered as the rightful property of someone or other of their daughters. "My dear Mr. Bennet," said his lady to him one day, "have you heard that Netherfield Park is let at last?" Mr. Bennet replied that he had not. "But it is," returned she, "for Mrs. Long has just been here, and she told me all about it." Mr. Bennet made no answer. Do not you want to know who has taken it?" cried his wife impatiently. "You want to tell me, and I have no objection to hearing it." This was invitation enough. "Why, my dear, you must know. Mrs. Long says that Netherfield is taken by a young man of large fortune from the north of England, that he came down on Monday in a chaise and four to see the place, and was so much delighted with it that he agreed with Mr. Norris immediately, that he is to take possession before Michaelmas, and some of his servants are to be in the house by the end of the week." "What is his name?" "Bingley." "Is he married or single?" "Oh, single, my dear, to be sure. A single man of large fortune, 4,000 or 5,000 a year. What a fine thing for our girls!" "How so? How can it affect them?" "My dear Mr. Bennet," replied his wife, "how can you be so tiresome? You must know that I am thinking of his marrying one of them." "Is that his design in settling here?" "Design? Nonsense! How can you talk so? But it is very likely that he may fall in love with one of them, and therefore you must visit him as soon as he comes." "I see no occasion for that. You and the girls may go, or you may send them by themselves, which will perhaps be still better, for you are as handsome as any of them. Mr. Bingley might like you the best of the party." "My dear, you flatter me. I certainly have had my share of beauty, but I do not pretend to be anything extraordinary now. When a woman has 5 grown-up daughters, she ought to give over thinking of her own beauty. In such cases, a woman has often not much beauty to think of. But, my dear, you must indeed go and see Mr. Bingley when he comes into the neighbourhood. It is more than I engage for, I assure you. But consider your daughters. Only think what an establishment it would be for one of them. Sir William and Lady Lucas are determined to go, merely on that account, for in general, you know, they visit no newcomers. Indeed, you must go, for it will be impossible for us to visit him if you do not. You are over-scrupulous, surely. I dare say Mr. Bingley will be very glad to see you, and I will send a few lines by you to assure him my hearty consent to his marrying whichever he chooses of the girls, though I must throw in a good word for my little Lizzie. I desire you will do no such thing. Lizzie is not a bit better than the others, and I am sure she is not half so handsome as Jane, nor half so good-humoured as Lydia, but you are always giving her the preference. They have none of them much to recommend them, replied he. They are all silly and ignorant like other girls, but Lizzie has something more of quickness than her sisters. Mr. Bennet, how can you abuse your own children in such a way? You take delight in vexing me. You have no compassion on my poor nerves. You mistake me, my dear. I have a high respect for your nerves. They are my old friends. I have heard you mention them with consideration these last 20 years at least. Ah, you do not know what I suffer. But I hope you will get over it and live to see many young men of 4,000 a year come into the neighbourhood. It will be no use to us if 20 should come, since you will not visit them. Depend upon it, my dear, that when there are 20, I will visit them all. Mr. Bennet was so odd a mixture of quick parts, sarcastic humour, reserve and caprice, that the experience of 23 years had been insufficient to make his wife understand his character. Her mind was less difficult to develop. She was a woman of mean understanding, little information, and uncertain temper. When she was discontented, she fancied herself nervous. The business of her life was to get her daughters married. Its solace was visiting and news. So there we go. That felt like a quick chapter. Chapter 1 of Pride and Prejudice. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see how we go. As these are much shorter chapters, we might get through this one very quickly. I'll probably do a couple of chapters each time we read. But let me know what you think and what you think of the book choice, if you're enjoying it, if you're excited for it, which are your favourite bits. And I'll see you all very soon. I hope you have a really good night's sleep. Good night.